The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, is the governmental organization in the country of my birth primarily responsible for compiling and reporting information about climate change. An article at Blue Frontier published on March 14, 2025, indicates that the Trump administration's actions will have adverse impacts on NOAA. This is no surprise, of course. Trump has repeatedly indicated that he believes climate change is a hoax. He also believed COVID-19 was a hoax until medical doctors used scientific findings to save his life. The article at Blue Frontier is titled, "Trump's War on NOAA, The Losers Will Be Americans and the Economy." The opening subsection is titled, quote, "Proposed Overhaul of NOAA and NWS," end quote. NWS refers to the National Weather Service, a part of NOAA. Within this first subsection of the article at Blue Frontier, we find this information. Quote, "The Trump administration, influenced by the conservative Project 2025 plan, is considering significant changes to NOAA and the NWS. This plan suggests dismantling NOAA, privatizing many of its functions, and reducing its budget, labeling it as a driver of the climate change alarm industry. Such changes could hinder the agency's ability to provide critical weather forecasts and climate research." End quote. This outcome is considered useful only to those who are interested in dismantling organizations driven by science. On the other hand, if you believe the process of science provides useful information, then interfering with the work of these organizations seems like a bad idea. Obviously, I am one of the relatively few people who believe the process of science generates useful information. After all, the primary goal of science is to produce reliable information, regardless of the beliefs of scientists or policymakers. The next subsection of the Blue Frontier article is titled, quote, "Impact on Weather Forecasting and Public Safety," end quote. It indicates, quote, "Experts warn that these proposed cuts and restructuring could severely impair weather forecasting accuracy, affecting disaster preparedness and public safety. The NWS relies on NOAA's data for accurate storm warnings, and any reduction in resources could compromise these essential services," end quote. Compromising essential services seems like a misguided notion to me. I'm not surprised the Trump administration is pursuing this idea. Next up, we have a subsection titled, quote, "Concerns from the Scientific Community," end quote. This short subsection indicates, quote, "Scientists express alarm over the potential loss of critical climate and weather data. The dismantling of NOAA could lead to less publicly available information, hindering research and the ability to monitor environmental changes effectively. This move is seen as a step back in addressing climate change and protecting natural resources," end quote. Again, I'm not surprised that the Trump administration is taking, quote, "a step back in addressing climate change and protecting natural resources," end quote. Anthropogenic climate change is neither a myth nor a hoax. It is a fact underlain by many years of observation and research. There are zero reasons the effects of climate change ought to be ignored or minimized. Anthropogenic climate change represents a significant threat to life on Earth, including human life. Even the Designed to Fail Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change concluded Earth is amid the most rapid change in planetary history, a change attributed to anthropogenic climate change. The IPCC also concluded this change is irreversible. These conclusions were reached more than 5 years ago by a multinational organization created during the Ronald Reagan administration. The IPCC replaced the Advisory Group on Greenhouse Gases, an organization that relayed much direr information than the IPCC. For example, the Advisory Group on Greenhouse Gases concluded that 1C above the 1750 baseline was a cause for considerable concern. In doing so, the Advisory Group on Greenhouse Gases relied on science rather than on opinion from an economist in reaching its important conclusions. The article at Blue Frontier is extracted from an article posted March 11, 2025 by the Los Angeles Times. This article opens with 2 paragraphs sadly typical of the Trump administration and its actions. Quote, "Last month, close to 1,000 National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration workers, including weather forecasters, were fired. The Trump administration has now told agency leaders to fire another 1,000 people. Along with 300 resignations to date, this will approach 20% of its workforce. The White House's Department of Government Efficiency also informed NOAA that its lease on the Center for Weather and Climate Prediction in College Park, Maryland, will soon be canceled. The center is essential in creating accurate computer models for everything from the next severe weather front to hit farmers in the Midwest to the long-term costs of extreme weather events linked to climate change." End quote. That's a lot of unused equipment purchased by our tax dollars. 5 paragraphs into the article at the Los Angeles Times, we are informed it's, quote, "clear that the entire right wing of policymakers, think tanks, and MAGA influencers setting the second Trump administration's agenda have a vendetta against NOAA. The agency's climate science and assessments, considered preeminent sources for U.S. and global planning, are anathema to the oil industry and the right-wing think tanks it helps fund." End quote. The bottom line in the article at the Los Angeles Times finishes with a call for hope. Quote, "Unfortunately, without a loud and immediate outcry from the public, including fishermen, mariners, scientists, and anyone who needs an accurate weather forecast, this ship increasingly looks like it's in the process of being torpedoed." End quote. This is exactly what Trump and his administration desire. These people believe science is either irrelevant or disruptive to their lives. I suspect they understand neither the process of science nor its outcomes.